Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are live. This is United Daily, the place where you get your latest Manchester United news, headlines, transfer rumours, all that good stuff here in one place every single night at 10:30 p.m. UK time. So make sure you're joining us here on AdamMcKola TV and keeping up to date with it all by hitting that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. Whether you're tuning in live or you're watching after we have been live, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you all for getting involved. Over the last couple of weeks on the channel, we've had loads of new subscribers. I think around 3,000-4,000 in the last week or two, and we've had loads of new viewers as well, and the old regulars always in the house. So thank you to everyone that has been getting stuck in and has been getting involved. We've obviously had the Donny van der Beek deal in the last couple of weeks, as well as Harry Maguire and his situation in Greece, Jadon Sancho's rumours, loads of different stuff going on, Alexis Sanchez leaving and all that good stuff. And fingers crossed, we've got loads more to speak about as this transfer window and the summer progresses, because there's a fair few players that could be on the move from Manchester United, and we're going to be hearing about one of them in particular today, namely Chris Smalling, whose move to Roma is believed to be a little bit on the rocks. But we know Chris Smalling and AS Roma, they really want to make this deal happen. So it doesn't look like something that we should worry about. But we'll have a look at why this move has potentially hit a delay. We'll look at some quotes from Donny van der Beek on Tottenham and Bergwijn asking him to make the move to White Hart Lane, but he rejecting that and opting to move to Manchester United. To be fair, you always hear these stories, don't you? You always hear them when someone signs for another club. You'll hear that Manchester United were interested in him and loads of other things like that. But Tottenham were credited with a real interest in Donny van der Beek and have been since January. So we'll be looking at that. And also, the main headline from tonight's news is that there's a decision imminent on Sergio Reguilon. Now, it's an interesting quote that's come out from Fabrizio Romano in relation to the Sergio Reguilon situation. And so we will be looking at that as well. Sergio Reguilon was in action tonight for Spain, who won 4-0. A clean sheet for David De Gea. Sergio Reguilon had a very good game. I believe he got an assist and created 4 chances in the game. The most chances created by one single player in the match. It's clear why Manchester United won him. He went off in the game with a knock as well, but it's believed not to be serious enough to prevent a transfer from happening. And we have heard today, even from the British press as well, on this deal. So we'll be having a look at all the reports in relation to Sergio Reguilon and his potential move to Manchester United. But as always on United Daily Live, we start with an on this day, and it's the 6th of September today. So the on this day comes from 2006. So on this day, the 6th of September in 2006, David Healy follows the path of another former Manchester United player. He scores a hat-trick for Northern Ireland in a dramatic fashion victory over Spain in a qualifier for the 2008 European Championship Finals at Windsor Park in Belfast. I remember that one vividly. What a hat-trick it was as well. Healy's goals enable his country to come back twice from behind to secure a 3-2 win against a side destined to win the whole competition. The last Ulsterman to achieve a treble in a full international at home was George Best against Cyprus in 1971. David Healy had only managed 3 appearances at United before leaving Old Trafford for Preston North End in 2001. And on this day, he helped Northern Ireland come from behind to score a hat-trick in a 3-2 win. What a player David Healy was, particularly for Northern Ireland. He had a few good spells elsewhere as well, and came through the ranks at Manchester United and obviously made a handful of appearances for the first team as well, before eventually moving on and becoming King David Healy, who was scoring goals. Remember the winner against England as well, Northern Ireland at Windsor Park? That was a bit of a mad one as well. David Healy with some great moments, and one of those coming on this day in 2006. So that's the on this day out of the way. What is going on today? What is going on with Sergio Reguilon? Now, we've heard various different reports on Sergio Reguilon's future, and whether that's at Manchester United, at Sevilla, at Real Madrid or elsewhere. There's been various other clubs linked with him as well. Now, the latest coming from Fabrizio Romano is that he's been offered to Manchester United. The board and Ole are considering him as an option, and with an imminent decision to be made. Sevilla are interested in another season-long loan. They've obviously had him on loan this season where he achieved, he got into La Liga Team of the Year and all that. And we're hearing now that it's the case of Manchester United deciding whether to press ahead with this transfer. We had heard previously that we had made a bid of 30 million euros or around that mark. Now, we've also heard that Real Madrid wanted around 25 million euros, but they wanted a buyback clause to be inserted into that deal. Now, I doubt Manchester United would be interested in any deal that sees us have to, potentially give the player back in a pre-arranged deal because of the contract terms. We're not a club that's going to be in the business of doing that. Now, Sid Lowe, via United reported earlier that Sergio Reguilon will almost certainly be on the move this summer. So he's not going to be spending another season at Real Madrid, whether that's on loan or a permanent deal. Now, what it looks like is we've seen that Real Madrid haven't really got the funds to make their business happen. Left back is a position they're quite well covered in. They got Mendy, who's currently playing there, and they got Marcelo, who can play there as well. So Sergio Reguilon, as well as he's done for Sevilla in La Liga this season, he's probably deemed surplus to requirements by them in that they can raise a decent chunk of transfer fee, probably similar to Diogo Dalot's position at Manchester United, in that he's a talented player, he's a great young player, but he's probably not going to get game time for Real Madrid. And Diogo Dalot's in the same position because there's players ahead of him in the pecking order. But Sergio Reguilon would get games for Manchester United. We know that left back is a position that we could strengthen on. Luke Shaw is not always fit for a whole season. And is he the top level fullback that we're looking at? I think he's still got to push on and improve. We've seen how well he did when Brandon Williams came in and challenged him a little bit more. And we've seen also how well he did at left centre-back. So maybe Sergio Reguilon, someone that, in my opinion, is definitely better than Luke Shaw attacking-wise. Defensively, Luke Shaw is probably a little bit more sound. But he's someone that could come in and challenge. Brandon Williams, a right-back, naturally. He could go over to the right-hand side and be an alternative for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You've then got Ethan Laird, who's coming through the academy as well. Could it be that he gets a loan move or whatever? I don't know. But Sergio Reguilon is a deal that I would think United would probably consider one of those bonus signings this summer. He's probably one of those that we're not really looking at making happen before the window opened. We were looking at a right winger. We were looking at a midfielder. We were looking at a centre half. But now that this deal's popped up, you can see why United are interested. Now, we've spoken with his agent. We've spoken with the club in terms of a fee. And now we're just waiting for this decision. So it looks like Real Madrid want the money up top. Like, they'd rather go with taking the money than maybe sending him back out on loan to Sevilla for another season. Because they obviously get a transfer fee out of it. But United are making a decision. So we've got to wait for that decision to be made. But it looks like we could be getting closer to that. Obviously, I think that's Spain's last game in the Nations League now. I don't think they play a game in the Nations League in this international break. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just bring their fixtures up. 1 second. So yeah, they're done now until October, the 10th of October. So their fixtures are done. He'll be heading back now. So we may see this deal speed up and a decision be made very, very soon. Liam Hardy with the super chat says, what's the latest on Reguilon's injury? Any idea how long he's out for? I've read a few early reports that say at worst it'd be 3 or 4 weeks, but it's just believed to be a knock and he shouldn't be out for that long. So it wouldn't affect any sort of transfer deal from happening or him failing a medical or anything like that. But thank you for your super chat. Remember, guys, you can get your super chats in. You can get joining AdamMcKola TV. If you can't do either of those, make sure you're liking and getting your comments in as well. Let us know what you're thinking about Sergio Reguilon. But he continues to be linked with a move to Manchester United. And everyone's favourite Tier 1 journalist, Fabrizio Romano, says he's been offered to the club. That rings true with what we've heard before. The board and Ole are considering him as an option with an imminent decision. Now, I believe if United have gone the whole way to agreeing a fee and, or making an offer and making an offer to the player and his agent for wages, that we're now probably trying to see, is it financially viable? We're going to be making that Jadon Sancho deal happen, you'd imagine. That's a big chunk of the transfer fee gone. We want to buy a centre-back. So if Reguilon's one of them bonus deals that we're trying to make happen, it may be a case now that you're waiting to see a few players leave. Diogo Dalot, Chris Smalling, Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones. You may now see United start to push those deals a little bit quicker, get the wheels turning a little bit faster on them. We have heard today that Chris Smalling to AS Roma may have hit a slight delay. We had heard that he wanted a 4-year deal. They were offering him a 3-year deal. And Gazzetta dello Sport today reported that Roma's confidence in the last 48 hours on Smalling has faded. Their offer has not been answered by Manchester United, but this could be a strategy to force Roma to raise the offer. So that's what we're hearing in relation to that at the moment. So maybe that's what the hold-up is. In terms of other deals, we're waiting to get a few more off the books, and we're trying to make these deals happen. But Sergio Reguilon continues to be linked, and Chris Smalling continues to be linked with a move away from Manchester United as well. And obviously, I think he's destined to be playing elsewhere next season. He's not going to be at Manchester United. He's one of those players United can get a fee for. We'd expect to get a fee for, and there'll be a few clubs that are in for him as well. We know that even Premier League clubs will be looking at Chris Smalling. He's an experienced centre half who's done well last season, and he's still got a few years left in him. So United can expect to get at least that £20 million that we want for him. And if Roma can't stick that up, then we've kind of got to be ruthless and say someone else will. No matter what Chris Smalling wants, if Roma aren't going to pay the money up for you, then they mustn't want you that much. So we need to get that deal done. We need to get a few more deals done in terms of outgoings. It's a shame we weren't working on them proactively, but I suppose it has probably been difficult as well with players being on international break, things like that. Trying to get them all back in to have those discussions and those debates on where their future lies. Hopefully now Sergio Reguilon's finished his international duty, we'll find out more on his transfer decision, and hopefully once this week gets going, we'll find out more, because international games are going to finish, players will be heading back to their clubs, and I'm sure things will start moving quickly from there. So fingers crossed on that terms with Chris Smalling to AS Roma, and hopefully it's not a sign of things to come and are struggling to get him out of the door. Let's see if there's anything else that's popped up on the news while we have been live. Let's have a look. Nothing there at the moment. There's talk about Sergio Reguilon has dropped transfer hints as he's removed all sign of Sevilla and Real Madrid from his social media profiles. Not sure how true that is, because I haven't even looked at his social media profiles, but those are the kind of typical stories that you hear during a transfer window. Let's have a look. There's quotes from Alan Smith. How close Donny van de Beek came to joining Tottenham, and that's one of our stories today. Donny van de Beek has been reported as speaking potentially about a move to Tottenham. He's joined Manchester United in a £36 million deal, and he has revealed that Tottenham winger Steven Bergwijn texted him to see whether he would play for Spurs. He says, "I chose United. Now, I cannot begin to explain how incredible an opportunity it is to join a club with such an amazing history, and I would like to thank those at Ajax." But he said Steven Bergwijn asked him to join Spurs. Obviously, we heard Spurs were in for him as well, trying to make a deal happen, which didn't happen, and he ended up at Manchester United. That's what happens when you don't get Champions League football, I guess. You have that ability to miss out on signings. Z Pedro says, in this live, he hasn't mentioned Reguilon's injury. I have mentioned his injury a couple times. Liam Hardy says, this is not live, even though he sent a super chat in, which I read out. What are you lot on today in the comments? You're on a mad one. Sergio Reguilon has picked up an injury, we know that, but it hasn't been reported to be serious enough to affect any potential transfer from happening, unless you guys have read something that I haven't. But there's nothing there in terms of his injury being as serious. We heard it could be a couple of weeks for him to be out, but nothing else there, unless you have scanned him or something like that. Don't know. Have you? injury. Let's have a look. Yeah, he hobbled off. You've had a few people saying it was a nasty looking injury, but nothing that should be too serious. He came off in the 88th minute, having created 4 chances for Spain, more than any other player on the pitch. Made 1 assist and made 4 tackles as well, the joint highest. Playing for a move, you might say. Playing for a move, but looks like he is on the move. Whether that will be to Manchester United, Sevilla, or anybody else remains to be seen. But there does seem to be interest there from Manchester United. And as reports today, United are waiting a decision. Mazamo says thoughts on Chunks missing a penalty. I didn't watch the game. I saw the video of Philly's goal, which was good to see. Great to see him scoring a goal in the game. A shame that he missed a penalty. Was it in the shootout? Was it to win the game? I didn't see the full game, so I'm not too sure. But love both of them. Great to see them involved in that. Mulder Comedian as well involved. Great to see them guys involved in that. Proper great lads. And good to see them playing there at Old Trafford. What a moment for Philly though. Patrice Evra's still got it. I seen him meg someone. Any outs on the radar, Adam, says David. Well, we know about Chris Smalling potentially on the move. There's been a few Premier League clubs linked with Phil Jones. Looks like United are going to have to take a massive hit on any fee to get rid of Phil Jones. Marcus Rojo's been linked with a move to Lazio more recently, but it looks like he might be staying in Argentina. He looks like he's definitely on the move. Diogo Dalot has been rumoured with a move, but not much recently has come out in regards to that one. You'd imagine definitely if Reguilon comes in that Dalot's off, but also you'd think Dalot could be off anyway, unless Oli has got a plan for him. Then you hear about Fred has been linked with a move, but that one doesn't look too serious. It was rubbish quite quickly. Andreas Pereira, about 4 weeks ago we heard reports that he definitely wanted to leave Manchester United, so you'd expect he might be on the move. Lingard, I think Lingard's going to stay. Mata has been linked with a move, but I'm not too sure what happens with him. Who else has been linked with a move? That's it, I think. But I think you're definitely going to see Smalling, Rojo, Jones leave. Andreas Pereira, that's 4. I think you definitely see them 4 leave. I think Mata could leave, but I don't think you definitely will. Diogo Dalot, I think it's 60-70% chance he leaves. So there's a few players that could be on the move, but let's wait and see. Wolves want Dalot on loan. Someone says in the comments to be a good move for him, to be fair. They got rid of Doherty as well, so might make sense. Dalot to Everton, yeah, I've seen that one before in terms of Dalot to Everton, so who knows, but they're spending a lot of money, aren't they? Carlo Ancelotti isn't messing around. They're building a decent team. James Rodriguez bought in, Alan bought in. But no matter who Everton sign, they always seem to stay in the same place, don't they? They always seem to stay in the same place. Well done to Mason Greenwood making his England debut yesterday. That was great to see. Is there any more news coming out at the moment from tomorrow's papers or anything like that? It's really been a slow weekend. It's what happens when you get the international break. All the journalists that are usually making up everything else are in press boxes at matches and doing match reports on the games that they're currently watching, so they haven't got time to write any transfer nonsense. But we did get that update on Sergio Reguilon from Fabrizio Romano that we are now awaiting a decision to be made. United were offered the player, we've put in a bid, and now we're waiting to see whether we're going to go through with that and make him a Manchester United player. Looks like the ball's in our court though, which is a good place to be in, but if you want to make it happen, you got to move quickly because other clubs will begin to be interested, as we saw with Donny van der Beek. And Sevilla's not a bad place for him to go. I mean, he spent a season on loan there and could quite easily go back in. Skrill says, any updates on Thiago Alcantara? He recently did an interview where he kind of rubbished any idea of him leaving now. I don't know whether that was because he's just fed up of constantly talking about it every single occasion, talking about a move. But he came out and said that he wasn't looking to go anywhere. Now Barcelona have been linked with a move back in for him, but we heard earlier that Liverpool are still pressing forward with a move for him. A deal for Wijnaldum looks to be going to Barcelona. You'd imagine once that move to Barcelona happens, Memphis as well being linked with Barcelona, which is a mad one. It was a great move for Memphis, I suppose, but it's one that I didn't see coming. But Wijnaldum going to Barcelona, I think, will free up the funds for Liverpool to be able to sign Thiago Alcantara, unless he is destined to stay at Bayern Munich or head out to Barcelona again. Remains to be seen, but it does look like that to me. There's no news on Jadon Sancho, as we know. Well, nothing that is worth reading, because we want reliable news. We want serious stuff. We don't want, Jamie Carragher saying, well, actually Liverpool might come in and sign him if United don't sign him this summer, because, that's next summer. We're not there yet. We're currently in this summer, and United are in for him with a one-horse race. And I suppose it's true from Carragher in that United could mess it up in terms of, we've got a one-horse race for this signing. He wants to join the club. We know Dortmund will sell. We simply have to give the money up for him. As soon as we do that, he's our player. Next summer, we could fuck around and Jadon Sancho has another great season, as he did this season. His price goes up a little bit more. There's more clubs in for him that can make the signing. And then you're battling with a whole host of other clubs. You never know, you might have a bad season. You're not in Champions League football. You've not got that again. You miss out on the signing. So I suppose it is a good point from Carragher, although I don't think Liverpool would be shopping around for a £100 million player. Not when they can't sign £30 million Thiago or £50 million Timo Werner after just winning the Premier League and the Champions League in back-to-back seasons. So, well, not back-to-back, but you know what I mean, Champions League one season, Premier League the other. How can they not afford that without having to make sales, but somehow they're going to afford 110 million on Sancho and his wages? Just don't see it happening at all. Sancho not worth 120 million euros, although he will make a difference to our team. I don't think anyone's really worth that, but when you look at the current market, when you look at the players that would be available, when you look at the quality that he has, the goals and assists that he brings, the longevity that he could have in the game, the fact that he's quite commercially viable as well, I think you find that, clubs will be more than willing to pay that kind of money for Jadon Sancho. Look at the money that was involved in Coutinho's move, Dembele's move. Sancho's better than them. So, yeah, I think it's ridiculous money to be talking about, but I think if any player is worth it, he probably is. But there you go. I think we'll end up signing him. It's just going to drag on and on and on, isn't it? It's just going to drag on and on and on. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're keeping it locked. You're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Over 1,400 of you in today. So thank you very much for joining us. Like the video on your way out. Don't cost you nothing. Subscribe. Don't cost you nothing. Join. That does. But if you want to become a member, become a member. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. United Daily Live back every single day. Make sure you're keeping it locked for that. Until next time, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.